Hey, no one believes in us except for us, right? Let's go out there and shock the world. Why not us, right? Line 6 on 2, 1, 2, 5, 6!
This Saturday, the Knox College Prairie Fire welcome to town the Monmouth College Fighting Scots for what will be their 130th all-time matchup. The rivalry is believed to be the 6th oldest rivalry all across college football, and needless to say, there's no love lost on either side.
Rivalries come in all sizes. In Division III, they come today. Often the last game of the season, it's the first game they circle. They're bitter and beloved, annual grudge and furious reunion. Like Knox and Monmouth for the Bronze Turkey. It isn't divisional, it's divisive. It's rivalry. And any size fits all.
After the 1888 game, the next that we know about was in October of '91, which Knox also won 22-4, and they won again in '92 and '93. The first game in '93, they played 2 that year, and these games were played generally in October in the early years. It wasn't until 1896 that we had our first Thanksgiving game. In 1928, a student at Knox, Bill Collins, who was a member of the class of 1929, was injured for the '28 season, thought that there ought to be something more at stake than just a headline in the paper and an entry in the school's won-loss record. And so he came up with the idea of the Bronze Turkey Trophy, and he got the Galesburg Evening Mail and the Monmouth Argus, their newspaper, to each pony up $40 for a trophy, and that became the Bronze Turkey Trophy. There was a tragedy in the 1930 Knox-Monmouth game when their fullback, Stanley McConnell, who was one of the leaders of that team, got injured in the game, paralyzed, and subsequently died of his injuries a few days later. Up till 1960, we had a record of 40, 25, and 7. Since then, our record has been 12, 43, and 3, including losses the last 19 games in a row.
I've always heard about the 100-year game, and that was 1989. That was 2 years before I got here, and I've seen pictures of the bowl. Wow, what a crowd! And it's always a very loud game, intense game. The hits are harder, people run harder, they play harder. It's just it's a playoff atmosphere.
It's in the papers. You're getting phone calls from guys that you played with and saying, hey, you're going to be at the ball game. And of course I wasn't able to get back, but just the build up and the hype and everything else that goes on in Galesburg, and again, it's Knox Monmouth.
There were a number of times when people at both schools would engage in a little thievery and steal the trophy and hide it. One of the more interesting episodes occurred in 1955 when 31 students from Monmouth set out for the Knox campus.
They mistake the courthouse across the street from campus as the Knox College campus.
Monmouth's scoreboard had been stolen the night before, and they assumed it was done by Knox students, when actually later events suggested that it was an inside job.
Well, they can't find the football field, so what do? They set fire to the Mother Bickerdike statue that's in the middle of Standish Park.
Citizens of Galesburg didn't take too kindly to that, and they caught the raiders from Monmouth. They were charged with malicious mischief, fined, and were suspended from school for 21 days.
Robert Hansen, a career FBI agent, a man above suspicion.
Robert Hansen is the most devilishly clever spy in the history of the United States.
For more than a decade, the FBI knew there was a traitor in their midst, a mole, but they never questioned Hansen.
He probably enjoyed knowing, while he sat in meetings with his colleagues at the FBI, that he was actually working for the other side. At the same time, they were all together looking for agents of the other side.
Before he was caught, Hansen sold American secrets for cash and diamonds.
I don't think it was the money at all for Hansen. I think it was the thrill of being a triple agent, if you will.
Bob Hansen became Darth Vader without the mask. He was the most powerful counterintelligence official in the U.S. government.
Next, Robert Hansen, the unlikely spy.
I knew that guy, and my first and only recollection of him is the little turkey incident.
He calls up this Monmouth employee, says he's a reporter for the student newspaper, which he wasn't, and that he wanted to do a story on the bronze turkey, and yeah, rides his bike out there, and the Monmouth employee opens up the trophy case to show him the turkey. The guy turns the corner for a second, Hansen snatches it, and goes back to Galesburg.
And I know it was late afternoon. I was out in what was then a landscape plaza area between the old men's quad and post hall, and I was walking across there for some reason. One of my fraternity brothers was also out there, and I think he and I were just chatting about something insignificant, and Bob rode up on his bike, and somewhere in a conversation, you know, he had his backpack on and talking about having the turkey, you know, and we're going, yeah, sure, you know, and he basically swings his backpack around, unzips a piece of it, and flashes the bronze turkey. He's got it in his backpack, you know. I just remember that, and then he was looking for a place to hide it, and my fraternity brother suggested a place to hide it, and it got hidden.
It's one of those stories that's almost too crazy to be true. You sort of wonder, like, how could that possibly have happened? You know, that really, like, it's almost like you take like kind of these two kind of urban legends and then smash them together into this like kind of like mega legend like Knox. All things Knox. It would be like Abe Lincoln stealing the bronze trophy or something like that, and it's almost too crazy to be true.
I don't think anybody ever knew it was there. I don't think officialdom ever knew that. You know, again, there was no big deal made out of it. It was just kind of a, hey, wasn't that cool? Kind of a cool stunt, you know.
And the thing that always kind of stuck out to me about that story that was you got this guy who some people would say is maybe the most traitorous person in American history. This guy who was selling state secrets to the Russians for 30 years or you know, something like that. doing maybe the most loyal thing you could do symbolically to Knox College, getting that trophy back to Knox.
And the original bronze turkey disappeared for years, and the registered mail bought a new one. We would keep the old one in the vault in the basement, but we would display the new one in the Hall of Fame room. So I would always meet with recruits. I would always end their visit with a 40 or 45-minute talk. And of course, when we had won the game, we always made sure that they could see the bronze turkey. So I'm showing a recruit, and we had just walked in the room. We hadn't even sat down to have our conversation. Just walked in the room, and I was talking about that game because we went 6-4 that year, and we ended up with a great win over Monmouth at Monmouth High School. It was '98, and I was talking about the bronze turkey, and all of a sudden I said, "When?" And this is where we display it. And then I kept talking, and I looked back. It's gone. And I'm like, it's gone. It is gone. Who's playing a joke on us?
In the early 2000s, we were playing here, and a Monmouth fan dressed in a kilt came over and was harassing us from behind our bench. And one of our players' girlfriends ran down the hill and knocked him over. So that kind of indicates the feelings that went on. It was really kind of funny. We turned and watched. Here she came running down the side of the bowl and knocks this guy in a kilt, knocks him down because he was taunting our bench, which was kind of neat, I guess.
I remember the field getting burnt, an M in the field. I remember a K being burnt in their field. I remember outside of Memorial Gym getting spray painted. So, you know, there was a lot of stuff that used to go on between Knox and Monmouth. You know, and then there used to be people back that would camp out at the bowl. We'd have fraternities at times, or just different groups of guys that would camp out at the bowl that whole week to make sure nothing happened, and they'd have that stuff go on too. And I think that was all in good fun. I don't ever remember anything major damage. Obviously, spray painting on the wall is not good, but there was it was pretty tough rivalry.
Traditionally, I guess there were times when, if Knox beat Monmouth, classes were canceled. The following Monday, the bell would always ring in Old Main, and it was a big celebration.
I remember getting off the bus a number of times at Monmouth and just getting, they used to have a dorm right by the field, which I don't think it's a dorm anymore, and I just remember getting yelled at, just screamed at, Gibbons, you know, what's your record? I mean, all kinds of stuff like that, and it's all in good fun. I'd get off the bus, and that's Knox Monmouth.
We are the fourth oldest rivalry in Division III. I think there's a couple of others, Division I's, that are older as well. So I think we're the sixth longest standing rivalry in terms of games played.
Long-lasting.
Special.
Intense.
Personal. Think Cubs and Cardinals, think Red Sox, Yankees. It's something that you know, you could be friends with somebody, you know, 364 days of the year, but the day of you know, the bronze turkey game, nope.
130 years of Knox and Monmouth to be played out on Saturday. Out to the No-Shirt Bowl we go, and Monmouth got on top early. The field goal right here is up and good, 3-0 Scouts, and on the next drive they would add to their lead. The touchdown run here puts them up by 10 early. The Prairie Fire trying to fight their way back in, and Jacob Morrow finds Hunterly down the sideline. The fantastic catch, but the Fire were forced to punt. Next drive for the offense, Morrow finds Lee again along the sideline. The catch goes for 30 and a first down, but they would run out of time and head to the locker room down 19-0 at the half. Second half action, and the defense comes up big. A blitzing Logan Hollis drops the quarterback, forcing the Scots to punt. Fast forward to late in the fourth quarter, the Fire now trailing 40-0, but they keep fighting, and Lee with another fantastic grab for the touchdown. That wasn't enough as the Fire fall 40-7. After the game, the Prairie Fire found out that they will be traveling to take on Ripon for the conference's fifth place game next Saturday. Kickoff is scheduled for 1 o'clock. Next week on Hard Knocks, it's the final episode, and we will take a look at the career of some of our seniors, plus highlights from the matchup with Ripon and much more. We will see you next week on Hard Knocks.